I've got Asheebo Rojas of the Chatham News and Record. This is the ChathamNC Sports Roundup. We're going to be touching, here's the agenda, Chatham County High School wrestling, a lot going on there. Chatham County High School basketball updates, a lot going on there as well as the basketball power rankings for not just the boys, but also the girls. We've got Siler City baseball. There's something going on in Siler City when it comes to non-high school baseball. Asheebo's out there. He'll let you know about what's going on there. Also, baseball season is not that far away. You can check it in the paper, but Asheebo will also touch base on that briefly here. We'll talk about a couple of our local guys who are out playing basketball. Drake's over at the Brooklyn Nets. He had 16 points in his last game. Jaron played against Stanford. Asheebo will talk about that a little bit. Well, and then we'll get into what's in the Chatham News and Record print paper this week. That comes out today. Asheebo's got a whole bunch of stuff in there. And then one of everybody's favorite is Asheebo's Athlete of the Week. We'll also finish up with where Asheebo and I, will be covering what sports we'll be covering here in the next few days. So let me get rid of the agenda. Let me close that window, and here we go again. All right, hide it, and we're ready to go. All right, Asheebo, let's start off with wrestling. There's a whole bunch going on, including this evening.
Yeah, so the biggest wrestling thing going on tonight is Seaforth is hosting meet with South Granville, Jordan Matthews, and Northwood. It's going to be senior night at Seaforth, so it's going to be a big night for that class of seniors that have been to multiple state championship appearances and won a couple of individual state championships in the individual tournament, and have also placed there as well. So it'd be cool to see their final go at home tonight. But also Gabe Rogers, a senior for Seaforth, he's going for 150 wins tonight. Remember last week we celebrated Jakari Blue going for 100, so we got another big milestone coming up with Gabe. It's going to be a huge thing. I know Coach Pete Rogers, his dad, he reached out and wanted us to come down and catch it. So we'll definitely be there. We hope we'll see a lot of people, from around the county out there as well to see the wrestling, because it's now with different conferences, it's rare to see, of course, our county teams wrestling against each other all in one spot like we got used to the past couple of years. So we'll have 3 of those teams at Seaforth tonight. And then I think that's it from wrestling. I know this week has been not much going on. I think some testing has been going on with the students. I think that's what Gene, is that correct?
Yeah, they had tests Monday through Wednesday, so pretty much all sports shut down on the high school level. Yeah, wrestling going. That's a big one tonight. Not only because you got the 3 Chatham County teams, but as you said, we got 150th win potential there. But also, we've got state competition coming up for wrestling soon, don't we?
Yeah. So middle of February is when we start getting into some of the state individual tournament there, that second week of February. So conference tournaments actually are going to be next Saturday. I know for Big 7 conference with Seaforth, and I'm sure some of the other conferences as well will start doing their end of season tournament. So yeah, we're getting to the end of the regular season for wrestling for sure. And we're going to start talking about regionals and of course state tournament qualifiers and dual team qualifiers as well. Of course, Jordan Matthews, like we said last week, they're on the brink of making the dual team wrestling tournament for the first time in school history. The top 32 teams in each classification except 8A get to make it. And I think as of this Monday or Sunday, they were the 30th team in 4A. So we'll see if they can hang on to that spot and qualify for the first time.
Yeah, and I want to remind folks, we do this weekly on Thursdays at noontime. I appreciate it. We get over 1,000 views a week, 1,500 sometimes. You got to pick up the paper as well, because we had, we'll be talking about, but Asheebo's got a whole bunch more in the paper, including stuff that you can just cut up and put up on your refrigerator door. We'll be talking about some of that because Asheebo's got a lot in this week's paper coming out today. So we're going to touch on that shortly. All right. So anything else on wrestling before we move on to the next topic?
Nope. I think we got it all covered.
All right. Let's talk about baseball. Again, nothing went on Monday through Wednesday because of tests. But what do we have going on in Chatham County High School baseball?
Yeah, so this actually goes into what we have in the paper this week. We did have some of the baseball teams release their schedules last week and finalize them as well. So we put those finalized schedules in the paper so you guys can take a look at them. I think the only one that we haven't had finalized yet is Jordan Matthews. They're still waiting on setting some dates and moving some things around. But Chatham Charter, Chatham Central, Northwood, Seaford, their schedules are set. Like I said, they're in this week's paper that released today. So you guys want to go check that out, you can pick it up or check on Max Preps or Big Teams, wherever your favorite team has their information online. And then outside of high school baseball, though, Gene, if you want to go ahead and talk about the Old North State League team coming to Solid City, that was big news on Monday because they revealed their team name at San Felipe's Mexican restaurant in Solid City Monday night. I was there. Reggie Allred, CIO of the Old North State League, and Alec Allred, CEO of the league, of course, from the area, Eastern Randolph, Solid City area, of course. So it's big for them. They're moving the team from Randolph. They had their inaugural season last year to Solid City. And of course, they had a name the team contest with people on Facebook submitting proposals. And then they chose, I think, about 5 or 6 names and had another vote from there. And so from the names that they had set, the name that won was the Chatham Yardbirds. So the mascot's going to be a chicken. And it revealed about 3 logos. I think there's one with the chicken head over the name. Then there's one with the chicken walking with the baseball in his hand. And there's another one with the interlocking C and the rooster's comb on top of the top C there. So pretty cool logos they revealed. And the colors will be blue, yellow, red, and white. So those are just kind of the things with the branding of the team. Of course, that night we also met the GM. It's going to be Paige Downey. She was also involved with this Chatham American Legion team last year, and I think a couple years ago as well, when they brought it back, just working with tickets. And now she's going to be the general manager of the team. And like we said in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago, when this news first hit that they're bringing this team here, they're going to be building a ballpark in close to downtown Solid City at the historic Braxton Fields, and that's going to be ready for the season opening in May. So also they gave us a full schedule for the team that night as well. That's also in the paper. You guys read more about that story. So exciting thing with the Old North State League baseball team coming here. Of course, you guys don't know the Old North State League is a summer collegiate wood bat baseball league. So a lot of the college players that come back home for the summer, they have an option to play some pretty high level baseball to keep up just their skills in the game and provide some entertainment for people in these towns across North Carolina. Of course, also to the ballpark that the Old North State League is bringing to Solid City. They intend it to be for more than baseball. They want to have concerts, movie nights, other events to kind of bring some more energy to downtown Solid City over the summer. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see how that goes once they get started up in May.
Yeah, and just a reminder for folks, the old Braxton gym, it's gone. It got demolished and it's no longer there. So, but that space behind it, yes, I think that's going to be a great place to have a ball field and a venue for different kind of events. And who would have thought Solid City's baseball team would have a chicken in it? I couldn't even think about that.
Well, the name, the Wild Hares, that was actually a close second. What I was told, that was really close to being the name, but
okay.
Yeah, the Yardbirds was chosen. There was another. There were I think 2 more other chicken themed names. I think that the Chatham Cluckers was one that was an option, and the Chatham Hot Wings, but they chose the Yardbirds. And I was telling Reggie and Alec, I really like it. Like you said, the chicken, it represents the area, and it's pretty cool. You know, I know a lot of baseball teams, they like to have niche mascots and things like that. So
that is good. And yeah, the thing about the hare for folks who are new to Chatham County, back in the day, a long time ago, Chatham County was known for its rabbits, and actually people in Chatham County used to hunt the rabbits and used to get sent up to high class restaurants up in Boston and Massachusetts, and that was a big menu item up there where you get a Chatham rabbit. So the Historical Society's got pictures of local hunters who would just go out there and get the rabbits and they ship them up north, and there was a market for it. But it's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal anymore. But again, you got a new baseball team coming out, and Asheebo, you covered some of their games last year, so I guess you'd be looking forward to covering some of their game. Where are they going to be playing this year? Are they because last season they were playing. They were playing at the other ballpark. The new ballpark isn't going to be ready to start playing this spring, is it?
No, they are planning to have it ready for the spring.
Okay, yeah, that is great news.
Yeah.
Also, a reminder: UNC's baseball season first home game is February 13th, and Chatham County's Scott Forbes is the coach of the UNC baseball teams. Also, although I know the comments are going to be made by people going, "Yeah, but he's from Lee County." That's fine. But yeah, UNC baseball looks like they are geared to play well this year. All right, so that's covered. And again, you guys need to come and pick up the paper. If you're not subscribing, get it at your local store because, as Asheebo said, he's got this all covered in there. So we talked about high school baseball. We talked about the Siler City new baseball team. Is there anything else on baseball we need to touch on before we talk about Drake and Jaron?
Nope, I think we touched on everything with baseball. So,
yep. All right. Well, we mentioned Drake and Jaron last time. They're both staying busy out there. You want to give us a quick shout out as to what Drake and Jaron are both doing out there?
Yeah, like the agenda said, Drake Powell had another start the other night, 16 points for him in that game. And you guys have watched a little bit of the Nets this season. Of course, you can see the rookies, all the rookies they picked this season. I think it was 5 of them. They've been getting better. The team has been getting better. They had a close loss to the Mavericks a few nights ago as well. So looks like the rookies are getting more comfortable as they get more minutes. Drake Powell's definitely getting more comfortable. Another double-digit performance for him. And so he's been, starting to get more consistent as a scorer, especially from 2-point range. And with Jaron, I think, Gene, you said he had 7 points last night in that loss to Stanford.
Yep.
And I watched that game, and Jaron, once again, making a lot of impactful plays on defense. I know it's a tough game defensively for the team as a whole, but I feel like when we watch some of these Carolina games, right, the position group, the forwards, the wings, Jaron, Henry, Caleb, I don't think you can really place a lot of blame on them. I think they've really done their part this season consistently so far. I think for Carolina, it's just a matter of better guard play. And we even saw Jaron, step out, hit a 3 last night as well, which will be huge for him and for the team if he can start shooting better from 3-point range throughout the year, because that'll add another option for Carolina from 3-point land, because the guards have also struggled from there as well this year. So hopefully Jaron can keep it up, help those guys down low, and we'll see if Carolina can pick up some more wins in the ACC play.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope Jaron keeps on improving so that he can move up to the next level after he finished up with college. All right, so we touched on what's going on with that. All right, let's get into the paper. I know we've already touched on some of the stuff that you've got in the newspaper and the print version coming out today. What else have you got in the paper today?
Yeah, so in addition to our basketball stories, there's the high school schedules and the Old North State League news. We have, of course, our winter sports roundup with our recap of the scores from basketball, indoor track, and some wrestling as well. We also have our story on Jakari Blue, of course, getting his 100th win, a historic milestone for Jordan Matthews Wrestling, so you can read more about that in this week's paper as well. And we have the story from Northwood boys and girls, their wins over Eastern Randolph last week as well. Both dominant wins. The boys won 78-36. The girls won 62-32. So you can read about how those games played out as well. So that's what we have in this week's Chatham News and Record, of course, in addition to our Athlete of the Week. And but before we get into that, Gene, you want to give a quick rundown of what we've seen with basketball this week? We had a few games. I think really just Woods Charter played this week, as everyone else hasn't really gotten back up to speed. They've played since the new year, but haven't gotten back up to speed this week. So Woods Charter this week, though, they had 2 wins, one over Central Carolina Academy, 53-41, and then they followed that with a 54-43 42 win over Research Triangle. And this is the boys, excuse me. And also want to mention with Woods Charter, I think this is their third straight win. Well, might be more than three, but they're on a win streak this season so far. And they had a big win over Phoenix Academy last Saturday. Campbell Blackburn, he hit a buzzer beater 3 to win that one at the end, 69-68. So they've been rolling pretty well as of recently down in Chapel Hill. And then on the girls basketball side, same thing with Woods. Big win over Central Carolina Academy, 63-14. And in that one, Wesley Oliver, 21 points, 8 steals. Valentina Polyanskaya, 17 points in that one. And then they follow that with a 36-19 win over Research Triangle. And in that one, Wesley Oliver also put down 20 points for the Wolves. So Woods Charter girls also rolling with a win streak so far this season. I think they're 10-4 on the year, so pretty good start for them. And with that, like we said, not a lot of basketball as of recently. I know Saturday we had some games with Northwood. They did get a win over Westover, and then the boys, and then the girls at Northwood got a 55-45 win over Nash Central. So that's most recent game for Northwood there. But looking at the power rankings this week, starting on the boys' side, of course, last week we had Woods Charter at 6, Chatham Charter at 5, Jordan Matthews at 4, Chatham Central at 3, Seaforth at 2, and Northwood at 1. But this week of January, last week from the week of January 5th, we had Chatham Charter at 6, Chatham Central at 5, Jordan Matthews at 4, Woods Charter at 3, Seaforth at 2, and Northwood at 1. And like we've been saying for weeks, right? It's tough with the power rankings this year with boys basketball. I think all of our teams in the county have winning records. They've shown flashes of playing some really good basketball this year. Teams have beaten each other. So just got to keep seeing how the season plays out. Of course, we have 2 more meetings with Woods Charter and Chatham Charter left to play. Jordan Matthews will be playing Northwood tomorrow, so we'll see how that one goes. And they'll have another meeting during the season as well. So, yeah, those are just the power rankings for the boys. Gene, do you have anything to say on that?
No, I usually kind of agree with you. I think it's interesting because Woods Charter, as you mentioned, is jumped from 6th to 3rd. As you mentioned, JM is playing Northwood tomorrow. We talked about it a little bit before we started this live stream. Your feeling on that game is it's going to be close in the first half, and then JM or Northwood will pull ahead to finish off with a win on that game tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jordan Matthews is a team that's gotten better, of course, from last year. They were really young last year. But last year's team, of course, a lot of athleticism. They bring a lot of those players back as well. Like we said, they got more mature. They got off to a much better start than last season, 8-7, I think, as of today. And I think they only won 9 games last year. So I think they're going to give Northwood a challenge early on. It probably won't be too easy for the Chargers early on. But I do think Northwood just – with the how well coached they are with Coach Matt Brown, and of course the leadership with Cam Fowler this season, his ability to just score from wherever, and then it's the guys around him, right? Josiah Brown, Bakari Watkins, Chad Graves, those guys can also score a lot, and they play really good defense as a team. I think they're just going to they might wear Jordan Matthews down at second half, maybe at the end of the second quarter. That's been a thing too. End of that second quarter, they go on a run and then build on that in that third quarter and really put the game away. So I see a little bit of that happening tomorrow night on the boys' side. But like I said, I do think Jordan Matthews, what they have, right? So an older, more mature team, but also very athletic. They could, make it interesting in the beginning.
Yeah, and like I said, we talked about that before we started the live stream, and I have to agree with you on that. Before we go into the girls' power ranking, there's a site that keeps track of statewide high school stats. And the neat thing is on the girls' side is we got 2 Chatham County girls basketball players who are in the top 100 in the entire state when it comes to three-point shooting. We got Aaliyah Roberts at Northwood. I think she was 58th this last week. And we've got Katie Leonard at number 19. And that last game that they played against JF Webb, I believe she had 8 3-pointers. Now, I asked Jaron if that was the record for Seaforth High School Seaforth High School. He didn't know the answer to it, but that was still impressive. So you got some top athletes. So definitely look, if you're sitting at home tomorrow night, come out and watch Northwood play against Jam in both the girls and the boys games. All right. Congratulations to you two ladies and being the top 100, and hopefully you folks will continue to be getting those 3-pointers. All right, power ranking for the girls basketball.
Yeah, girls basketball last week, just to give you guys a reminder, it was Chatham Charter at 6, Jordan Matthews at 5, Woods Charter at 4, Chatham Central at 3, Northwood at 2, and Seaforth at 1. This week, we have a little bit of a change. So Chatham Charter at 6, Jordan Matthews at 5, Chatham Central at 4, but Woods Charter at 3 to switch with Chatham Central there. And we're going to have Northwood at 2 and Seaforth at 1. Of course, Seaforth just continuing to dominate in conference play and take care of business, like you said, led by Katie Leonard, and she's been lighting up the scoreboard this year. But Woods Charter, like you said, they've been on a pretty good run this season, just beating teams in front of them, and also getting a lot of production from Wesley Oliver, who we're going to talk about later as well, and also some other players as well, like Valentina Polianskaya. Sorry if I'm not saying her name correctly, but she's been putting up a lot of points in some of these games as well. So Woods Charter, I think, deserves to move up this week. Chatham Central struggled a little bit in conference play. I don't think they've won a conference game yet, but they are in a really tough conference, of course, with Bishop McGuinness, other teams like South Stokes, North Stokes, and they're still trying to find their way there. But, Gene, do you have anything to say on the girls' power rankings?
Yeah, I was going to say, I definitely agree with the way you've got this set up. And also high school OT last week when they rank their teams, they do it by area code in the 919 area code. Both Seaforth and Northwood made the top 15 list of when it comes to the girls' teams here in the 919 area code. Of course, Seaforth was higher than Northwood, but still, for both Northwood and Seaforth to make the top 15 in 919 high school OT, and again, Asheebo's written for high school OT, so definitely one of the premier sites out there when it comes to high school sports. So, ladies at Seaforth and Northwood, keep doing what you're doing, and let's stay on top of the competition. All right, are we ready to go to everybody's favorite?
Oh yeah. Yeah, before we do, actually, I did want to mention, just shout out Northwood as well. I mean, that last game against Seaforth, that one really got interesting at the end, and of course, Northwood, I think, outplayed Seaforth in that second half of that game, even though Katie Leonard still came up big. But I do think that's going to be one of the bigger games in the county when they do play again. Is Seaforth girls, Northwood girls. That one, from what we saw at the end of that game, I think it could go either way. But yeah, Gene, we're going to the athlete of the week this week, and like I said, I always hinted every week when I say we're going to talk about this player later, and I did this week, and we're going to Woods Charter girls basketball. It's going to be Wesley Oliver for athlete of the week. And this week was tough, like you mentioned. Katie Leonard had some big games last week, right? A lot of girls lined up the scoreboard. But Wesley Oliver in that game against Ascend Leadership on Friday, she had a career high 33 points while shooting 50% from the floor. She also grabbed 4 steals in that game, and check the steals column. She's been doing it on both ends of the floor as well. And then she led her team with 18 points in the win over the Harbor School on January 6th earlier in that week, last week. So, yeah, Wesley Oliver, she's been the Wolves' leading scorer this season. Of course, a senior leader on this team. She's been doing this for multiple seasons. She's averaging 15.5 points per game, and she also leads her team in assists. So, congrats to Wesley Oliver from Woods Charter girls basketball, and continue to help the Wolves, they keep on their good run going on this season, and we'll see if they can compete for a conference title down in the Central Tar Heel 1A.
Yep, congratulations, Wesley. It's nice to see Asheebo's athlete of the week moving around, and again, a lot of top performances. We're going to talk about where we're going to be for games. Again, we're doing wrestling tonight, and we got 3 Chatham County teams involved with that. Let me just move I'll go ahead and hide that. And tomorrow we got Northwood against Seaforth. Just want to let folks know, I have always people coming up saying, who's your favorite team? When I'm covering two Chatham County or multiple Chatham County teams going against each other, I don't have favorites. I would just want all the athletes to do well and have a competitive game. And as Asheebo said, when C4 playing Northwood girls, that was interesting, and it's going to be interesting when they come back and playing again. And I'm hoping to see some nice competition. I hope we get to see the 150th win tonight in that wrestling match. But I'd love to see all the teams do well tonight and tomorrow. All right. Anything else that you've got, Asheebo, before we wrap it up?
Nope, I think we got it all covered. Like you said, pretty light week leading up to this point, but we got some things ramping up. Of course, Thursday and Friday, wrestling, basketball all over the county these next 2 days, and then also I think we got some MLK basketball scheduled. I think C4's girls going to be playing Cardinal Gibbons Monday at 1:30, and I want to say Northwood is playing Garner Saturday, also as part of the MLK weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be another good week of Chatham County sports. Hopefully these next 2 days when we're out and about. And if you guys see us, don't hesitate to say hello and continue to follow our coverage. Of course, you guys can follow me on X at AsheeboR38 and on Facebook at Asheebo Rojas. And then Gene also has some videos and other coverage as well on the Chatham Journal on X and Facebook as well. So, yep, we'll see you all out and about over the next couple of days and into next week. And thank you all for watching.
Yep. And if Asheebo's up for it, he's going to be commentating during the games tomorrow between Northwood and JM. And I was also going to say, people are actually watching it. It's not just Chatham County teams. I ran into the coach of the Bishop McGinnis girls basketball team at an NC State basketball game. And he's like, hey, how you doing? And I mentioned the fact that their games are up on the YouTube channel. So look, I've been doing this long enough that we've got people that I started this about 17 years ago with the videos that, hey, they're now adults and they've got their own kids. So I hope you enjoy those videos. And again, I'm going to pop this up because this is a world of difference. Asheebo's on X. So what you will probably see is tonight you'll see his post on X as to what's going on in wrestling, and you will definitely see post tomorrow as to what's going on during the games, and you will see post-game interviews with the coaches and the players. So definitely follow Asheebo on X. And look, pick up a darn paper as well because we give you a bunch of information here, but you've got it in print, and it's still nice to have it in print. And Wesley and everyone else who's in this week's paper, congratulations to all of you. We'll see you on Thursday, or maybe Asheebo and I will see you tonight or tomorrow over at Seaforth and Northwood. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. See you next week.